children of God in the most extraordinary country in the world. As we celebrate the birth of our Savior, let us always choose to live by His Word, to give thanks to those who serve us all, and to love our fellow Americans. From our family to yours, Merry Christmas.
I'm Marcia Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Marcia for Senate.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable, a look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning, this is Bill Krause on the Thursday morning edition of the WGNS Radio Roundtable. We'll do introductions after we have the performance. We're going to, for the next 22 minutes, have wonderful guitar music by Bob Fitzgerald, a dear friend, a colleague, and a gentleman who is with us about every quarter on WGNS. Bob, go right to it, and then he has to leave at 9:30, so we want to get the fullest of Bob Fitzgerald.
All righty, Will. I know Bill likes John Denver, and so I'm going to go ahead and start off. We're going to play some Christmas music and maybe a little bit of music from our repertoire. J.J. Jolliffe over here with me and I are a slice of American pie, and so we do some things other than the Christmas music, but since it is Christmas time, it's tall in the saddle, we spend Christmas Day driving the cattle over snow-covered plains. All of the gifts to be opened today. Ours is the sky and the wide open range. Back in the city, they have different ways. Football and eggnog and Christmas parades. I'll take my blanket and I'll take the reins. It's Christmas for cowboys on the wide open plains. A campfire for warmth as we stop for the night. Stars in the sky are our Christmas tree lights. The wind blows a hymn as we bow down to pray. It's Christmas for cowboys on the wide open range. Tall in the saddle, we spend Christmas Day driving the cattle over snow-covered plains. All of the gifts to be opened today, and ours is the sky and the wide open range. It's Christmas for cowboys on the wide open plains.
Thank you, Bob. So great. Good way to start it out. And your next number is?
Well, we're going to pick it up the pace a little bit.
All righty.
And do an old George Strait Christmas song.
Oh, you're going to keep it straight.
Yeah.
Good.
As we should, right?
Yes.
All right. There are probably some folks maybe at home taking care of this sort of thing right now. I know at Christmas time, some of the best things that Terry, the wife, does is get into the kitchen and make Christmas goodies. And so that's kind of what the song's all about.
Thank you.
Well, I sure do like them Christmas cookies, sugar. I sure do like them Christmas cookies, babe. The ones that look like Santa Claus, Christmas trees, bells and stars. Well, I sure do like them Christmas cookies, babe. Now, Christmas cookies are quite a treat. The more she makes, the more I eat. Sometimes I just can't seem to stop. Sometimes she waits till I'm asleep and then puts them little sprinkly things on top. Well, I sure do like them Christmas cookies, sugar. I sure do like them Christmas cookies, babe. The ones that look like Santa Claus, Christmas trees, bells and stars. I sure do like them Christmas cookies, babe. Well, them sprinkly things just make matters worse, 'cause now they taste better than they did at first. Just impossible to resist. Well, they disappear to who knows where, but I make sure I get my share. Kids just sit there waiting for the ones I miss. Well, I sure do like them Christmas cookies, sugar. I sure do like them Christmas cookies, babe. Well, she gets mad if they're all gone before she gets the icing put on. Sure do like them Christmas cookies, babe. Well, now there's a benefit to all of this. Some of you just might have missed. Actually, it's the best part of it all. 'Cause every time she puts a batch in the oven, there's 15 minutes of kissing and a hugging. And that's why I eat Christmas cookies all year long. Well, I sure do like them Christmas cookies, sugar. I sure do like them Christmas cookies, babe. The ones that look like Santa Claus, Christmas trees, and bells and stars. I sure do like them Christmas cookies, babe. Yeah, I sure do like them Christmas cookies, babe.
I got a great idea, Bob.
Uh-oh.
Bob has a wonderful resume. We'll be talking more about Bob after he leaves. But he's
nice.
leaving to give a final exam at Motlow State. I wonder how better the grades would be if the students were taking their exam and you were playing that song in class. I think a little musical accompaniment to a final exam would suddenly make productivity on the grade level go up about 10 degrees.
Yeah.
Try it.
Happy thoughts for sure.
And your next number, I'll let you grab a...
We're going to sneak away from Christmas music and let JJ sing a song here that probably everybody out there knows. It's a...
Darius Rucker,
That's
or Old
right.
Crow Medicine Show, or Slice of American Pie. Headed down south to the land of the pines, thumbing my way into North Carolina, staring up the road, pray to God I see headlights. I made it down the coast in 17 hours, picking me a bouquet of dogwood flowers, and I'm a-hoping for Raleigh I can see my baby tonight. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Oh, rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. running from the cold up in New England. I was born to be a fiddler in an old-time string band. My baby plays the guitar, I pick the banjo now. Oh, North Country winters keep a-getting me down. I lost my money playing poker, so I had to leave town. But I ain't turning back to living that old life no more. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Oh, rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Walking to the south out of Roanoke, I caught a trucker out of Philly, had a nice long talk. But he's headed west from the Cumberland Gap to Johnson City, Tennessee. And I gotta get a move on before the sun. I hear my baby calling my name and I know that she's the only one. And if I die in Raleigh, at least I will die free. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Oh, rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me, mama, rock me, mama, rock me, oh. Oh, rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me, mama, rock me, mama, rock me. Oh, rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me.
Very good. In fact, here's another idea.
Uh-oh.
Bob and Terry, his lovely, lovely wife, are going to New York City coming up this next week. If you played that song and included JJ along with you, and you were in Times Square in New York and played that song, I think there'd be enough dollars into your basket that would pay for the trip.
Yeah.
I really do.
I'd like to stow away on that trip. I'd like
Wouldn't
to go
that
to New
be
York
neat?
City. That'd be fun. And good people to hang out with. So.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're going to switch back to a little bit of traditional Christmas music here, featuring my buddy over here.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Truly he taught us to love one another. His law is love, and his gospel is peace. Chain shall he break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we, that all within us praise his holy name. Christ is the Lord. Oh, praise his name forever. His power and glory evermore proclaim. His power and glory evermore proclaim.
You made that high note very well. I always worry when that high note is approaching, but you were right there, JJ.
Thank you.
That was great.
Early in the morning, I was concerned myself.
Before you go, Bob, I want to also say that we certainly want you and JJ back every quarter.
Okay.
So I'm going to have an invite for you for late March, early April.
Cool.
And once again, bring some of your students.
Okay.
Not the accounting students, if you wish.
Yes.
But I'm thinking more of your
music.
guitar students. Yep. All right. What are we going to hear next?
Well, I'm going to sing the song that my sons are now in their 40s, with obviously children of their own.
You were a child groom.
But I'm going to sing the song that I used to sing to my kids, my boys, on Christmas Eve before we put them to bed and went downstairs and did all
presents.
our Christmas stuff. This one's Glenn Campbell. I think Tom T. Hall wrote this song, but Glenn Campbell's the one who popularized it for Christmas time. It's called Little Toy Trains. Little toy trains, little toy tracks, little toy drums coming from a sack, carried by a man dressed in white and red. Little boy, don't you think it's time you were in bed? So close your eyes, listen to the skies. All is calm, all is well. Soon you'll hear Kris Kringle and the jingle bells, bringing little toy trains, little toy tracks, little toy drums coming from a sack, carried by a man dressed in white and red. Little boy, don't you think it's time you were in bed? So close your eyes, listen to the skies. All is calm, all is well. Soon you'll hear Kris Kringle and the jingle bells, bringing little toy trains, little toy tracks, little toy drums coming from a sack, carried by a man dressed in white and red. Little boy, don't you think it's time you were in bed? Little boy, don't you think it's time you were in bed?
Oh, are you going to sing it when you're in New York to your son when you're visiting?
Well, to the grandkids, yeah. In fact, he's got a guitar pre-positioned at his house, so all I need to do is sit down, and the grandkids, always love it when I go there because I sing goofy little kid songs and stuff. In different voices and everything.
We should have you do a post-Christmas in January of the goofy songs.
Yeah.
So, what do we have next?
Well, about time for me, so I'm going to sing your song.
Oh,
We're going to
great.
do your song.
Great.
There's a storm across the valley, clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulder. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away, and the whining of his wheels just makes it colder. Well, he's an hour away from riding on your prayers up in the sky, and 10 days on the road are nearly gone. There's a fire softly burning, supper on the stove, and a light in your eyes that keeps him warm. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long-lost friend. Yes, and hey, it's good to be back home again. Well, there's all the news to tell him just how'd you spend your time, and what's the latest thing the neighbors say. And your mother called last Friday, sunshine made her cry. You felt the baby move just yesterday. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Yes, it is. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long-lost friend. Yes, and hey, it's good to be back home again. And all the time that I can lay this tired old body down, feel your fingers feather soft upon me. The kisses that I live for, and the love that lights my way, the happiness that living with you brings me. It's the sweetest thing I know of, just spending time with you. The little things that make a house a home, like a fire softly burning, supper on the stove, and the light in your eyes that keeps me warm. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Yes, it is. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long-lost friend. Yes, and hey, it's good to be back home again. I said, hey, it's good to be back home again.
Thank you, Bob. Very, very
welcome.
meaningful song. Have a safe trip out to Montlow. Drive carefully. Don't let the police stop you.
Don't let the
for
crazies
speeding.
get me out there.
Right, and a safe, happy trip to New York.
And thanks so much for having us.
And we're going to be talking with JJ after this short break.
Chip Walters here with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. I was named a top 10 agent in the number 1 Exit Realty office in America in 2021. The top question I get around town, how's the market? Good question. And the answer's changed a few times this year alone. I'd like to know what you've heard and share some solid data we have. Give me a call and let's have a cup of coffee and take a look at what's happening in your neighborhood. All my contact info is right on my website, choosechip.net. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
Life's too short to stress about insurance. That's why Ray Call at Rayburn Insurance is here to make sure you have the right coverage without all the hassle. He'll work hard to provide you with personalized service and finding the best solutions for you and your family. Whether you're looking for auto, home, or business insurance, Rick Hall's got you covered. Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency. Let him handle the details so you can focus on what really matters.
As a leader in environmental services, sustainability is deeply integrated into our business model. At Middle Point Landfill, we are environmentalists at heart. This is Mike Klassen with Middle Point Landfill. We use cutting-edge technology in combination with our deep experience in recycling and waste services to protect our environment and our neighbors. That's our job, and that's our promise. We invite you to learn more about us at middlepointlandfill.com. For public services, we are sustainability in action.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
I've got pests, bees, buzzing, rodents running all through my house. Ants chewing wood, and look, there's a mouse. I'm overrun with pests, but you're gonna be sure, safe and secure. It's the last rites for those pests. Call the best of the best to get rid of your pests.
893-7111. AmeriCare Services Incorporated. Call us today. 893-7111.
Now WGNS Good Neighbor Events. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas as Boy Scout Troop 197 sells their Fraser Fir Christmas trees at the Fellowship United Methodist Church, 2511 New Salem Highway. And Troop 197 will be selling these Fraser Fir trees until they're all gone. The Red Cross is still critically low on blood. Please give the gift of life. Call the Red Cross at 800-RED-CROSS and make an appointment to give blood at a time that fits your schedule. This weekend brings the Nutcracker to Smyrna High School. The Middle Tennessee Sinfonietta and Sozo Dance Academy perform their 4th annual Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite. 2 performances Saturday, 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and a Sunday matinee at 2. That's all at the Smyrna High School. Oh, it's the final weekend for You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, at the Center for the Arts in Uptown Murfreesboro. It's also the only weekend to see White Christmas. That's another Center for the Arts presentation. It's at MTSU's Tucker Theater this weekend. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
Rutherford weather.
We'll see sunny skies here this afternoon with a high in the upper 40s. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low near 31. By Friday, mostly cloudy skies, high 55 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 29.
We're powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. This holiday season, MTE wishes you and your loved ones a Merry Christmas and a bright New Year. Thank you for making our community shine. Happy holidays from Middle Tennessee Electric.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
This is Bill Krause again on the Thursday edition of the WGNS Radio Roundtable as we're approaching Christmas very quickly, and the weather sure is getting us in the mood, to put it mildly. I hope you all enjoyed not only the music of a dear friend and a colleague, but a gentleman who is very multi-talented and multitasked, Bob Fitzgerald. And Bob's associate, Bob's partner in business is also with us this morning. JJ, as we like to call him, Jim Jolliffe. Jim, when did you first meet Bob, and how did you meet, and how did your paths cross? And tell us about yourself and your music entry.
Okay. Bob and I were both stationed in Stuttgart, Germany while we were in the military. He was active duty Army and I was active duty Air Force. And about 98, 99, I had gone off to school back in the United States and come back to Stuttgart. And there was a 24-hour walkathon on the track field at Patch Barracks. And you don't do anything in Germany without a beer tent.
Oh, okay.
And so walked into the beer tent, started having some beers, and there were 4 guitarists, a bass guitar and 3 six-stringers up playing 50s, 60s, 70s rock and roll. And I'm a drummer. And I had just purchased an electronic drum set in the States and brought it back to Europe. And the more liquid courage I had in the beer tent, the more aggressive I begot bold. And so at the break, I went up and I said, you know, I'm a drummer and I know all the songs that you just played in the last set. And they said, don't move. We've been looking for a drummer.
Wow.
And so the rest is history. We got a chance to play in Germany from 99 to 01.
What was the name of the group?
The first instantiation was Gas Money and Beer.
Money and Beer.
And the point of that was we'll play for either or both.
No priority.
No. And that was when we played on the bass. And of course you're playing to GIs and they're going to clap for you because they're all happy and Americans. And so we said, hey, what would it be like if we played downtown? And if we're going to play for the locals, we probably don't want to call ourselves Gas Money and Beer. Let's try to think of a name that's more
How did
attractive.
that translate into German?
Well, I don't know. So we changed our name before we played on the Economy to American Pie. And we had an old Wurlitzer-style jukebox as our logo with an American flag behind it.
Wow.
And so people understood that we're Americans and we're playing old-time rock and roll like you'd see on the jukebox, like a Happy Days jukebox. And so that was a bunch of fun. And I came back in 2001, and Bob stayed until 2006. And we kind of went our separate ways.
With a very, very renowned position as Inspector General.
Inspector General, yes.
For the in Europe and North Africa, if I recall.
Yes, yeah. Well, the whole European command area of responsibility at that time, before they broke it into AFRICOM and EUCOM, was 90 countries from Norway to South Africa. Wow. It was just gigantic. And so he had to cover all those concerns. And he is extremely talented in all facets of his being, and it's just a lot of fun. So anyway, he retires to Murfreesboro in 2006. I get orders to Arnold Air Force Base, just 40 miles away in 2007.
And you weren't from here. You were from...
Oh, I'm from western Nebraska. And so I grew up in the farmland out about 20 miles from Wyoming's border and went to the University of Wyoming. And so to meet and play with Fitz for a couple, 2.5 years in Germany, and then to kind of reunite here, we said, well, let's get the band back together. We used to have 5, and now we had 3, now 2. And instead of calling ourselves American Pie, because we were a portion, we called ourselves a slice of American Pie.
Slice of American Pie.
Yeah. So that's
the
good.
The drummer should have been called and the vanilla on the pie.
A la mode. Yeah,
a la mode.
My call sign's a la mode. I guess I go from JJ to a la mode. But, yep. And that's it.
So you have since 2006 been playing gigs in the area, and what else have you been doing mutually?
Well, we like a chance to play golf, and the weather here is pretty.
You sing while you play?
We don't.
No.
But we certainly enjoy a libation from time to time. So when you're playing in a bar, that makes it easy. But we like to play golf. We like to play music, and we both, like to enjoy life. So.
But you're also together in a school. Are you in the school, or are you?
I'm not.
You're not in the guitar school. My mistake.
Yeah, we were business partners when he first started the business in 2006.
Okay.
I was part investor in that business, Johnny Guitars, and helped him build lesson rooms in the building, and helped do some modifications to guitars. So if somebody had an acoustic guitar and they didn't have an electronic drop in it, they wanted to be able to put a cable. I did some of that work because I have a woodworking background as well. And,
well, let's talk about that. I understand you're very famous down in your hometown as not only a woodworker, but a personality.
Oh, well, thanks. But it's my wife and I started a small business called Jolliffe Acres Woodworking and More. And so I do woodworking and I do wood carving, and my wife does baskets, handmade woven baskets, and stained glass. And so, and now our sister-in-law, who moved from Colorado Springs, is a potter. And so if we have a craft booth, we have a lot of everything for people to look at.
Do you sell online? Do you sell at festivals?
Festivals. We haven't gone online, and as a wood carver, it takes me a long time to get a single piece made. So I'm nervous about putting my stuff online because I'm afraid that all my pictures would say sold.
What
I wouldn't be able to keep up with inventory.
What would be maybe 3 or 4 of your most favorite? And that as a woodworker, you said, boy, I really overdid myself on this one.
Yeah, what got me into wood carving was I got a chance to go to Europe as a sophomore in high school.
Oh, even before the Air Force.
Way back.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was a teacher whose brother was also a history teacher. He lived in Southern California. His sister, the lady who took me, lived in Western Nebraska. And they were both very tall people. She was like 6'5", and he was like 6'11". And he had played European basketball for 11 years in Europe. So he would do a European history class and take his entire class to Europe.
Wow.
So it was 7 countries in 30 days. And when I landed in Europe, everything there was carved. Stone was carved, wood was carved, and it was just fascinating. And I thought, how do I get into wood carving? Well, because most of the carvings that I saw were realistic.
Sure.
You know, statues and those kinds of things. I was very interested in realistic human busts. So, you know, shoulders up. And because I grew up in Wyoming, Nebraska area, mountain men and Native Americans were very interesting to me because they had so much personality just in the lines in their face.
Who was that carver very famous?
Well, Remington. Yeah, does bronze statues and all. And so, and, you know, my father had some bronzes of Remington. And so all of the cowboy stuff, and again, I'm a University of Wyoming graduate, and their mascot is the cowboy. And so mountain men and
buffalo.
Buffalo and ruggedness. And so I got a chance to get interested in carving, stayed with it. When I went to UCOM, no kidding, there's a thing called National Wood Carvers Association, and they put out a magazine called Chip Chats. And as I'm leaving with my wife to go to Germany, they said there's an Austrian wood carving school that has English-speaking instructors.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, I need to go to that. And so 3-year assignment, I'm 90 days away from coming back to the United States. I called Geisler Moroder Wood Carving School, and I said, hey, you have a hands, head, and feet week-long class. I'd like to sign up. And they said, this is not the English-speaking class. It's not for 4 months. Call back in 4 months. And I said, I'll be in the United States of America in 4 months. And they said, call back in an hour. Long story longer. They said, you can come on.
Did you know much German?
I knew none.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I knew how to order a beer.
Oh, okay.
And I knew where the bathroom was. You know,
Yes.
those things. And it's in Austria as well. But what they didn't say was, you know, Austrians and Germans, all of Europe have to learn English as a second language because it's the international language of business.
Right.
And so what the hard part for them was there were 15 students in this class. I was the English speaker and 14 others were Austrian speakers. Wow. And so what they did, especially for me, was we were all in a carving area together, but when they wanted to go talk about anatomy or clay sculpting or whatever, 14 of them would go off to this side room and do all the work. They'd come back and they'd go, you, come with me.
Yes,
So
wow.
They'd teach me in English. And, you know, if you sit with somebody, whether they speak your language or not, at lunch for 4 or 5 days,
is going to evolve.
and you can understand, you know, Rotokraut is the red cabbage and Weisskraut is the white cabbage. And some of the folks, sauerkraut, and they would, I remember them complaining a little bit, is like, Weisskraut, we get Rotkraut. Are we ever going to get something as a side dish besides this cabbage, pickled cabbage? And so anyway, a lot of fun. And some of these instructors were new like me, but most of them were getting their professional credits.
Sure.
So they were coming back, and they were sculptors. So.
Did you find it relatively easy to pick up? Was your ability to build, ability to craft very natural, or was it a special effort?
It was a special effort. I'm an engineer by education, and so artistry and free thinking and all this kinds of things. The
creativity factor.
It's a different feeling, and I think the important part as a visual learner, and that's what carving is I told him, I said, I don't even need an English speaker. If I can watch him make that cut, and then I can try to repeat what I just watched, I mean, I'm going to learn whether he tells me anything or not. And it was amazing to watch these master carvers carve an angel that was probably 22 inches tall, and he did it in a day and a half. It started with a log on the stand and just went to town. And I mean, he had giant chisels and just wailing with a mallet and chisel and formed this beautiful figure, added wings to the back of this angel, and then carved the hands and put it in the robe.
Fantastic.
Just really incredible.
What kind of wood would you especially utilize or believe this is the best I can do?
Well, most of the carving that I do is in basswood, which is a very light-colored, tight-grained wood, and so it doesn't have a lot of figure to it.
Is it grown in Tennessee?
It is. There's southern basswood and there's northern basswood, and the northern is a tighter grain. It holds better detail, so that's the basswood to pick if you have a chance. Butternut, which is also called white walnut, is really neat. And when you're doing Native Americans or mountain men, it has a lot of figure, and so when you carve, the grain of the wood almost adds to the feature of the face.
Am I wrong in remembering Remington with mahogany?
Yes, I think you're right. And mahogany is fun to carve as well because it holds detail. Lots of furniture that's carved, period furniture, is mahogany, and it's gorgeous. It's a harder wood. What's
the largest piece you've done?
The largest piece I've done, well, with my wood carving club, we would do group projects. And so we've done totem poles, probably 6.5 feet tall. We did a cigar store Indian when I first joined the club in 2008. And so it was a single block of wood. And now we've also done an eagle that's on its side flying, soaring with a fish in its talons. And that's a group project. My biggest one's probably about 30 inches, and it's a Native American bust with the full headdress.
Headdress and so forth. I always love to ask creative people, even though you're an engineer, and you think about every project you're going to be in, as an engineer or as a creative artist. Do you think of dimensions? Do you think of angles? Do you think of particular right angles rather than, I'm just going to flow?
Well, what I've learned about anatomy, and now you start to stare at people in restaurants and markets and all, because you're looking at their significant features. But as an engineer, when you're trying to build a building or a dresser or whatever, it's about proportion. And there are standard rules of thumb for a human head. That it's in thirds and thirds and thirds.
Sure.
And then from below your nose to your chin, it's broken into thirds as well. The top lip.
I never knew that. Yeah, that's fascinating.
Until you start to study it, you don't understand that. And then you start looking at proportions and then angles. And when you talk about...
How about a person with big ears?
Well, and it's interesting. They talk about as people grow, different parts of your body elongate. Your ears get longer. Your nose may droop over a little bit. We all have more flesh and we have more wrinkles and features. And also when you look, this is a 90-degree angle between the tip of your nose and your cheekbones. And so you can try to set, a square, if you will, across your carving to try to make sure that proportion's about right.
I would assume that a painter takes the same things into consideration.
They do, and they're trying to make a 3D image with 2 dimensions.
Wow.
So that's the hard part, is how to shadow and all. And I do a little bit of painting on carvings, and I do caricature, so it's almost a cartoon face. But one of the ways to add, just like the painter, is to darken different spots to increase the shadow. So there's certainly a shadow between your eyebrow and your eye because the light's over your head. Well, if you add a little bit darker, like ladies will put shadow on their eyes to make them stand out better, it's the same thing when you paint and when you carve. So you get both benefits. I get a chance to make it deep and also have that.
I appreciated when we were off mic before the show of your reference to the Notre Dame restoration.
Yes.
I would imagine that you looked at the Notre Dame restoration as a carver rather than just as one of the many billion people who watch it as a historical tradition.
It was, and I got a chance to see, I think it was the CBS Sunday Morning News this last Sunday when they interviewed some of the sculptors who were working on the cathedral. And it's just fascinating to see, 600-700-year-old buildings and that tradition followed by today's carvers or sculptors.
And today's color that they put on there, they lighten it up the entire facility.
It's beautiful. I just think it's spectacular, and what a house of worship.
We'll be right back with some interesting insights and comments by JJ. I'm not even going to call you your full name. JJ is a friend. And hear about, and I want you to be thinking about this before we come back. Do you have to be in a certain mood to be creative? Do you have to wake up one day and say, I'm creative today? Or, no, I'm going to sleep in. I'm not creative. Think about that. We'll talk about that at the return of the show.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Premier 6 Theater on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Let's all go to the movies.
Check out what's showing at murfreesboromovies.com. Popcorn popped fresh daily.
Movies at the good old premises.
Premier 6 on Broad in Jackson Heights.
At Bud's Tire Pros, we sell all major brands of tires, and we invite you to stop by today for that next set of tires. Or maybe you need us to check out your vehicle before you head out of town. We offer everything from brakes to batteries, alignments, and more. No appointments necessary, just stop on by.
I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstireprostn.com.
Oh, I know it's a busy time, but this is also a time of giving. And I need you to give a moment of your time to fill out the special census for Murfreesboro. Go to murfreesborocensus.com. It only takes a couple of minutes, and you'll do a lot for our community. Go to murfreesborocensus.com. Fill out the special census today. Can Santa count you in?
This holiday season, let's make it magical with First Shot Foundation's Christmas for the Kids. Help bring Christmas joy to Rutherford County kids who need it most. Your support helps provide toys, warm clothing, and a reason to smile. Several local leaders have offered to match funds for the first $10,000 raised, so every dollar you give means $2 for local kids. You can be the reason a child's eyes light up with excitement this Christmas. Go to First Shot Foundation on Facebook to find out how to give. That's First Shot Foundation on Facebook.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Hello again, Bill Krause on the third and final segment of this morning's WGNS Radio Roundtable. And we're having a delightful visit following up on the musical interlude that JJ and Bob Fitzgerald did for us at the early part of the show. We're with Jim Jolliffe, known to us as JJ, who is sharing with us another aspect of his many talents. Not only is he a drummer, and what do you call that instrument that you play that goes?
Oh yeah, so this is a kielbasa.
A who? That sounds like a
kielbasa. Yeah,
it sounds like something you eat,
like a sausage. It's not a kielbasa; it's a kielbasa, and I think it's a Latin percussion piece.
Okay.
So it's round turned, and there looks like the metal washboard, like you'd see in a Zydeco band. And then ball bearings. And I've seen people shake it. I've never done that. I turn it. And so I have control on a beat or rhythm that I can add to the piece.
Have you ever thought of composing on that as the primary instrument?
You give me too much credit for any kind of artistic ability.
But that adds so much to it. Almost sounds, what's the Latin instrument that also goes ch-ch-ch-ch? I think of the Latin bands that have that.
Yes, and
because that looks different. This looks more like a brush.
Yeah, and I think they use a lot of maracas, which is a bulbous, like a gourd almost. Mm-hmm. This type of sound, and it's beads or seeds in a wooden hollow form. And to me, I like this because it's very discreet. You can stop it and start it with your hands, and so where this you can try to stop it, but it depends on the angle of your hand and some of the.
Have you been doing that since the drums and since you joined Bob? Or when did you begin taking that up?
Well, so I started in school bands in fifth grade
in Nebraska.
Yeah, in Nebraska. To be in the percussion section, you had to have at least 2 years of piano. So you could understand the notation. Okay. You could count, what's an eighth note and what's it worth and what's 4/4 time and half time and all. And so in those bands, sometimes you were just a snare drummer. Sometimes you were the bass drum player. Sometimes you were the triangle player or, the shaker or timpani. And so I learned a lot. And in my junior high band, we had a percussion section, which is usually a lot of people, two people. And my older brother, who was 5 years older, was a drummer, a trap set player. So I'm in seventh grade. He's a senior in high school and playing the full drum set. Well, they asked me to play the drum set for orchestra band because we needed a bass drum and a snare and maybe some cymbals all at once while the other percussionist was playing something different.
Let's go back to the question I asked you right before the break. Do you have to be in the mood to be creative, whether it's writing music, whether it's playing music, or whether it's woodworking or any type of the arts?
I think you do. And you certainly have to be motivated to do your best. And so if I do a carving, sometimes I do, speculative carvings. I'm just going to make a carving, put it in the booth, hopefully someone will buy it. But other times I do commissions. Let's say I carve a love spoon, a Celtic love spoon that's got all the Celtic knots and different symbols for a young couple who's getting married. And what I like about that in a commission work is as you're carving, you think of those people. And so that's your motivation, is certainly you have a deadline, but you also have their life in your mind as you're making these cuts to say, I hope they'll enjoy it. I hope this infinite loop of this Celtic knot will continue, that they'll stay together.
Let's talk about that for a moment. Somebody wants to commission a wood piece. How do they get a hold of you? What's expected? What requirements are there? Do they have to require or provide a portrait or picture of what you're going to sculpture? Kind of walk us through.
Yeah, well, so they'd give me a holler, give me a call or send me an email.
And where is that?
My phone number is 937-545-9135.
Where's the 937 now?
Well, it's an Ohio exchange. And again, back to the military. I was at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And then my final assignment was here in Tennessee. And when I retired, I joined a company in industry. And the office that hired me was at Wright Pat or Dayton, Ohio.
Mhm.
And so they gave me a phone number with that area code. Well, I left them in 2016, and when I left, I said, I've used that phone number for personal and professional reasons. May I please keep that phone number? And they said yes. And so I just haven't been late. I've been lazy and haven't.
You want to
changed
give it again slowly and surely.
937.
That's the area code. 937
545
545
9135.
9135. So suppose I wanted to get a special sculpture. I call that number, and JJ answers in a very nice and friendly manner. And then what does JJ ask me, and what do I share with JJ?
Well, the first thing would be, what is it that you'd like, and when would you like it? So schedule's important, but requirements are even more important. And that goes kind of my engineering days, systems engineering, as well as creating. And if we're going to carve like a Santa, I'll carve a Santa, and the nice part is we both have a vision of what a Santa looks like, and we'll try to set up, do we want him standing stock still? Do we want him in action with a bag over his shoulder full of gifts and those types of things? But if it's a portrait, that's a completely different challenge, because now I'm trying to make a likeness of someone you know. And as you can tell, we talked a little bit about longer ears and all.
One third, yep.
But if you look at people, everybody's not proportionally the same. And some people have a birthmark, or they have a certain tilt to their smile. And to try to capture that in any kind of sculpting is a challenge. And so what I try to do is I make a clay model first. I show it to the client. I say, is this the likeness that is close to what we're trying to achieve? And again, there's brightness in our eyes. When we're talking to each other, you can see life, and to try to bring that life into a inanimate piece is another challenge. But that's what we do. Is if I can get pictures of the subject, I need a side view from both sides, because my left side and my right side are different. And
Which
then
most
straight
people
up.
don't realize, except politicians. Do you know why politicians do that?
No.
Because if a politician is being interviewed by a television anchor, a television reporter, and they want their best side shown on the video interview, and there's the good side and the not so good side. And when I learned that, I thought, wow, I thought we're equal.
Right. Well, and there's a simple art trick that they try in entry-level art. Take a well-known actress or model or whatever, or actor, and you take that sheet out of the magazine, full-size headshot, and you fold it in half. And so you have one side of, let's say, Brooke Shields' face.
Okay.
And then they put a clean piece of paper on the other side, and they say, draw the other side of her face.
Okay.
And then you roll it over, and you realize that's not the same, because even though models are chosen because they're proportionally accurate on both sides of their face, Cindy Crawford had a mole on one side, Marilyn Monroe had a birthmark. Those kinds of things that you just don't know that until you experience it. So anyway.
Wow. Have you had many people ask for this commissioned work for birthday, anniversary, just a tribute to the person?
I have, again, I've carved in basswood, and then we didn't talk about this cottonwood bark.
Oh, please.
But it's very thick in the northern and western portions of the states, and so it holds detail really well. And I've got a bunch of bark that you can't get the bark until the tree dies. So I talked to my brother's neighbor out in western Nebraska, and he took down a 90-foot tree. Wow. So I pick up all this bark, and I said, let me carve something for you. I do whimsical houses or whatever. He said, could you carve my daughter and my dog?
Together?
Yes. And she came out in full hunting regalia, because he was a game warden.
Okay.
So in her with her shotgun to hunt ducks, and they had to have 3 ducks laying in front like it's a good day, and the dog and all. And so I had to get all these pictures. I talked about the 3 this way, 3 looking down, and then 3 looking up, so you get all that structure on all sides. Anyway,
and the dog behaved.
Well, and it took me a couple years to get the courage. And of course, the dog's 14 years older now, in dog years. And the little girl had matured too. But
We've had a delightful morning this morning, initially with Holiday and certainly my favorite music by Bob Fitzgerald, assisted by his longtime friend and associate and fellow musician, JJ. And when Bob had to go administer exams at Montlow, and most hopefully the students in the accounting class are going to do extraordinarily well. I really think Bob should have played background music during the final. I think that would have been great. And just learning about woodworking and hearing, do they ever say your bark is better than your bite?
That's right. Well, I hope so. Every time I get that cottonwood bark, I hope it's good all the way through.
Thank you, JJ. Have a Merry Christmas, and we look forward to seeing you and Bob in the early part of 2025.
Thank you, Bill. It's been a pleasure.